Donald Trump held a rally in Iowa over the weekend, and comments from some of his supporters are really raising eyebrows. Let's listen.
Dear Mr. President Donald J. Trump, I have come to deliver legal documents to you so that you can give them to your legal team, period. Our King Jesus Christ has spoken to put you back in your office at the White House now. Capiche? Sincerely, Rich Thomas.
We're not going to take it anymore. I see a civil war coming. I do. I see civil war coming, especially with his mandates.
Joining us now to discuss this is Mark McKinnon. He was a chief advisor to the George W. Bush and John McCain campaigns, and he is currently a co-host of The Circus on Showtime. You know, Mark, you listen to what the supporters of Donald Trump say, and the whole backdrop of this is that Facebook, really, we've learned, is continuing to amplify this. That really doesn't seem to go away. It seems like these are the kinds of opinions that are just going to keep growing. Where does that leave us?
Well, it doesn't leave us in very good position. I mean, the disinformation amplifier is cranked up to 11 and it's going up to 12. And you can see if supporters are talking about Jesus Christ and civil war hand in hand, usually don't think about Jesus and civil war together. But when you do, what you get is an insurrection at the Capitol. And if that's what happened last time, imagine what could happen next time if things are just getting worse.
So there might only be one person on earth who's cooler than Mark McKinnon, and that would be George Clooney. And this is arguable, right? I mean, that's, it's close. Clooney talked to the BBC, and this is what he had to say about President Biden's current struggles and also Donald Trump.
It's like taking a battered child and thinking everything's going to be okay, and his first day in school. There's a lot of things that have to be repaired. He's going to be a factor for a while. It's so funny because he was just this knucklehead. I knew him before he was a president. He was just a guy who was chasing girls. Every time he went out, he'd come over and be like, "What's the name of that girl?" That's all he was. And the idea that there's this whole group of people that that they think he's the champion of, which he certainly can't stand in real life. But he's gonna play this out for a while.
So there was a lot in there, Mark, actually. At the end, he said two things, one of which had to do with what we were just talking about. There's a group of people who were just devoted to him, blindly devoted to the former president at this point. But then he said something you hear from time to time where he doesn't think that Donald Trump even cares about these people.
Well, I mean, that's the great irony. He's supposed to be a man of the people, and sits at came down the golden elevator at Trump Tower, and he couldn't imagine a billionaire real estate developer, and yet he has a stranglehold in sort of the quote middle class of America. But he does, and that's the real. I think the Republican Party is clawing its way to the bottom with Donald Trump, and I thought that this election was a real opportunity to move forward and not look in the rearview mirror. I know from campaigns that the way you win future campaigns is to look forward, not backwards, and not play the last play. But clearly the Republican Party now is dedicated and is doubling down with Donald Trump, and that's going to be the future of the Republican Party, and I see that as a real problem, not only for our party, but for our country.
I mean, we played some of the sound of his supporters there at his rally in Iowa, but you see the people who are elected officials, Republicans, who were there supporting him, Chuck Grassley, the governor, the chair of the Iowa Republicans. Where does this end, and how long does it take to get there for Republicans, or does it end?
Well, that's what's so depressing to me as a former compassionate conservative Republican. There's no place for people like us in the party anymore. Look at Ohio, Rob Portman, who was a very centrist, reasonable Republican. Now everybody is literally trying to see who can be Trumpier than the next person. So the future of the party is clearly with Trump, and that's what's depressing to me. It's not so much Trump himself, but it's the Trump enablers like Chuck Grassley who know better.
But back to George Clooney. Let's get back to the important stuff if we can
George.
here. He told us about his political future. Let's listen.
Do you ever see yourself, like some other actors, going into politics?
No, no, because I actually would like to have a nice life. And I'm 60 and I can still play basketball and still do the things I love. But in 20 years I'll be 80, and that's a real number. Doesn't matter how much you work out, doesn't matter how what you eat, you're 80. And so I said, we have to make sure we enjoy and live these years in the best possible way.
I mean, if you can't get a guy like Clooney to run, does this just show Mark, that you know, good people aren't getting into politics anymore? I jest. Look, I don't think I think George Clooney is living his best life and probably doesn't want to get into politics, doesn't need it. And he may have things in his past he doesn't want brought up. But the larger issue of are we getting the best possible people to run these days?
Well, Clooney is just a great example of a healthy human being. Who in their right mind would run for politics in this environment, which suggests that people who are not in their right mind are the only people running for office. And that's, again, that's what, you know, I'm a prisoner of hope, and I'm going to keep, you know, it's a really steep hill and a big rock, but I'm going to keep pushing, and I hope lots of other Americans will too, who believe in our democracy. We'll keep fighting the good fight. But man, I tell you what, even though I'm a prisoner of hope, the cell is getting really dark.